gentle restorative yoga class. The only thing you're going to need for this class is your mat, but if you are a little bit tight in your hips or in your hamstrings, do keep a block or a pillow nearby and maybe a strap or a belt as well. Other than that, we're just going to get started in a comfortable seat. If, like me, you're sitting in front of a wall, I do recommend you shift your sit bones all the way to the back of the wall and we'll come into a comfortable seat. It's just a beautiful way to support the back, especially if you're a little bit tight in the hips. And it just helps you to align your spine and sit a little bit taller. Feels really, really good. So just make sure that the small of your back is pressing into the mat, into the wall, and the shoulder blades as well are pressing back into the wall. Once you're there, close down the eyes and take a deep breath in through the nose. Let it out with a sigh through the mouth. Let's do that again. Inhale deeply through the nose. Fill up the belly. Exhale with a sigh out through the mouth. Last one. Deeply inhale through the nose. Relax the belly. Exhale with a sigh out through the mouth. Gently close the mouth and just allow the breath to flow now through the nose only. As you inhale, relax the belly, feel the belly rise. And as you exhale, release everything out through the nose. We'll be here for a few breaths, so just keep the eyes closed or have a soft gaze in front of you. And just allow yourself to completely relax. Release any tension you might have been holding on to. Maybe gently wiggle the fingers. If you need to, maybe rock out the neck. This is your practice, so there's no right or wrong today. Just do whatever feels good for you. Staying here in a few more moments of stillness, just allowing yourself to listen to the breath. And at the bottom of your next exhale, gently float the hands towards heart center, pressing the palms together and guiding the thumbs between the sternum. Take a gentle tuck of the chin. Maybe feel the corners of your mouth curl into a smile. Take a moment just to thank yourself for showing up today, for taking this time to look after your body, to look after your mind, to rest, restore, and relax. Gently flutter open the eyes. Release the hands palm facing up. And if you are sitting in front of the wall, just gently shift the hips forwards and just stay in this comfortable seat. If you do feel like it's a little bit too tight, and if you're a little bit too tight in the hips, you can come up onto the knees because we will be sitting down for the next few postures. Beautiful, so just getting yourself comfortable, take an inhale, sweep up the arms, press the palms together, and then exhale, draw the hands through heart center. So we're just taking a little bit of shoulder mobility here. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, press the palms together, draw the hands through heart center. We've got 3 more. Inhale. And as you exhale, feel as though you're moving through water. You're drawing the hands slowly with resistance back to the heart center. Imagine moving the energy, sweeping it up with the inhale and drawing it down to the heart space with the exhale. Last one. Inhale. And exhale, hands to heart center. Beautiful. Releasing the hands either side of the body. We're just going to take a gentle twist. So we're going to twist over to the right side. Take the right hand behind you and the left hand on top of the thigh. So left hand is on top of the right thigh. Right hand is behind the body. Just make sure that your sit bones are still on the mat. Take an inhale, straighten the spine, and as you exhale, look over that right shoulder. Keep the breath deep in the belly, breathing through the nose only. And maybe take your gaze a little bit further away from you. This is just going to encourage the twist a little bit deeper. But we're not pulling into this pose, we're just allowing ourselves to be guided by the breath and by the body. Beautiful. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Take a moment just to look up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, twist over to the other side. So again, we're taking the back arm behind the body, front arm is coming around onto the opposite thigh. Keep the neck long, and you can use that back arm as an anchor to press into the mat and maybe lift the spine a little bit higher. Again, taking that gaze over the back shoulder and keeping the breath deeply in the belly through the nose only. Last full breath. And then as you inhale, bring yourself back to the center, sweep the arms up. Exhale, draw through heart center. Arms by your side. Beautiful, we're going to take a side bend. So take an inhale, sweep the arms up again. And then we're going to trace the right hand over to the right side. Keeping the sit bones connected to the mat, start to tiptoe the right hands away from the body. And then at the same time, reach up the left arm. We don't want to be collapsing into the side body. So at the same time as reaching up into the side, we're going to lift up through that side waist. We'll just be here for one breath. And then as you exhale, maybe bend a little bit further, really release into the pose and look down towards the mat. This should feel really lovely along the left side of the body. Take one more full breath. And then inhale, press yourself back up. Use that left hand to guide you up. Reach the hands towards the ceiling. And then exhale, float over to the other side. So again, just for one breath, we'll be doing an active version of this pose. Reaching up with the right arm, lifting up through that side body. Take a full breath here. And then exhale, float yourself down. Maybe your elbow comes to the mat, but if your hips start to lift up, maybe you've gone a little bit too far. Again, trace that gaze down towards the mat. This should just feel really lovely and juicy along that right side of the body. One more full breath. And then inhale, bring yourself up. Take a moment to reach up the arms. Draw the hands again through heart center. Move through water resistance, bringing the hands back to the heart center. Let's pause here in Samastiti. And if it serves you today, call to mind an intention for your practice. This can be a simple word, an affirmation, or maybe just something you want to cultivate more of in your life. Maybe some peace, maybe patience, maybe just some self-awareness or self-acceptance. Whatever it is, feel that intention rise towards your heart center. Take a full breath and then open up the eyes, release the hands, and then we'll roll over onto all fours. So we're not going to be moving much for the rest of the class. Now we've mobilized the shoulders, we're just going to mobilize the spine slightly. So we're going to do a few rolling cat-cows. I love this way to open up and move the body because it's just a really intuitive way to start to move. So start to roll onto the wrist, just moving the body in any way that feels good for you. Rocking back onto the heels, rolling the spine, moving yourself from side to side, rolling the pelvis, just doing anything that feels good. There's no right or wrong here. You just want to be feeling like you're warming up the spine, warming up the shoulders and the hips. Really just having fun and using your body in any way that feels good. Close the eyes if it feels good while you do it. We've got 3 more active breaths here, so maybe you want to let out the exhale with a sigh. Maybe it's the end of the day and you've got some frustrations or parts of your day that you're still holding on to. Maybe you can exhale them out with a big sigh. Last full breath. Beautiful. Touch the big toes together, send the hips wide. And we'll sink back the heels and sink back onto the heels and come into an extended child's pose. Press the forehead to the mat and just allow the body to fall over the front of the body. Close down the eyes and really start to connect with the breath, breathing deeply in through the nose. Again, if it serves you today, you can let it out with a sigh through the mouth. Last full breath. And then press into the hands. Come back into all fours. Take the hands underneath the shoulders. Send the sit bones high. And then we're going to start to tiptoe the hands forward, keeping the sit bones high and reaching the chest down towards the mat. This is melting heart pose or puppy pose. We're going to be here for a few breaths. So just notice how the neck is feeling. If you feel like you're crunching it, you can bring the forehead down to the mat. Otherwise, gently bring the chin to the mat if you can. Start to look forwards beyond the mat. And then maybe close down the eyes and settle into the breath. Again, this is a really beautiful way to open up the front of the body, to open up the chest, the neck, the shoulders. And it's especially great if you've been sitting all day at a computer or a desk. It's just a beautiful way to do a counter stretch, to maybe hunching over. We've got about 5 more breaths here, so see if you can relax a little bit deeper with your next exhale. And just allow the breath to move slowly, evenly through the nose only. Last full breath. And then press yourself up into all fours again. Take the hands underneath the shoulders and just roll the spine. Again, doing that intuitive cat-cow motion, moving in any way that feels good for you today. Take the hands underneath the shoulders, reach up the right arm, look up towards the sky or the ceiling, and then exhale, tuck that right arm underneath the left shoulder, lay down on the right shoulder, and maybe stay here, or you can trace that left arm behind the back. Again, sit bones are high off the heels, close down the eyes. So we're starting to really slow down the practice now. We've opened up the spine, we've rotated the shoulders. And we're really starting to settle now into this practice. So just notice if you're still holding on to any tension, maybe in your fingers and your jaw. And with your next exhale, see if you can just melt that tension away. Take 3 more full deep breaths here. And then release the left hand back down onto the mat. Use that hand to gently leverage yourself back up to tabletop. And again, we'll take that really juicy, intuitive movement, just rolling the spine, rolling the back. Beautiful. Whenever you're ready, coming into the second side. So inhale, reach up the left arm this time. And then exhale, tuck that left arm underneath the right shoulder. And then take the right arm behind the back. Close down the eyes. Release that right hand, press it back down onto the mat. Take the left hand back to the mat and just rock gently from side to side. Beautiful. From here we're going to get into a little bit of hip flexion. So just stepping yourself back to the back of the mat if you've moved like me. You're going to take your right foot towards your right wrist and start to sink the hips back. At the same time, send that back foot slightly away from you. If you've got a block or a bolster handy, now is the time to take it underneath you if you need a little bit of extra support. Otherwise, maybe coming high up onto the fingertips, and this might be your edge, this might be where you stay. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, perhaps you can start to tiptoe the hands down onto the mat, or maybe come all the way down onto the forearms. We're coming into Dragon Pose. So this is a very intense hip opener, so just be kind on yourself here. Just notice where your edge is, and when you feel like you've reached it, just stay and start to breathe deeply in through the mouth. If you're all the way down here and you feel like you can't feel anything, perhaps you need to come into Winged Dragon by slightly stepping out that right foot away from you and turning onto the blade edge or the pinky side edge of that right foot. Otherwise, keep the breath deep, staying where you are. You're halfway there. Coming back onto the flat of the foot if you've tiptoed your foot away, and just bringing the foot back towards the center line of the body. Everybody else start to press into the hands, coming back upright, maybe up onto the fingertips. And just take a moment to extend the chest forwards. Beautiful. Start to sink back on that left foot, and then gently trace that right foot to meet the left. Just gently swing out the hips. It's a very intense hip opener, so just again be really gentle and kind with yourself. And I do invite you to close down the eyes if you can, just to really bring yourself inwards in this practice, to really connect with your breath and with your body. When you're ready, we'll come on to the other side. So this time we step the left foot towards the left wrist. And then we start to sink down the hips and at the same time extend that right foot behind. So again, maybe you're high up onto the fingertips. Maybe you're using a block or a pillow underneath you. Or maybe you're coming into the full expression by coming all the way down onto the elbows. Wherever you are, again, just be really, really kind with your body, especially if it's the morning and you've just woken up. If you do want to go a little bit deeper, Winged Dragon is there, coming onto the pinky edge side of that left foot. And maybe dropping all the way down onto the elbows. We've got about 5 more deep belly breaths here. Close the eyes or focus on a still point in front of you. Use the breath as an anchor to bring you back into your body. Back into your mind if your mind starts to wander. And I always remind my students not to be critical of themselves if their mind starts to wander. It's natural and completely normal to have thoughts racing through your mind. Just acknowledge them, thank them for showing up, and just invite them to drift away like clouds in the sky. We've got about 3 more breaths. Deep into the belly. Last full breath. Maybe let out the exhale, the big sigh. Tiptoe those fingertips back to the body. And then start to tiptoe that left foot back to the center line. Release the knees back down and again roll the spine. It's a really, really juicy, deep hip opener. So just give yourself a little bit of space to stretch out the body. Beautiful, bringing the knees back underneath the hips. We're going to come into Pigeon Pose. So we're going to bring, ideally, the right ankle towards the left wrist. But for most of us, myself included, my shin is more parallel. So just again, find your edge, play with the edge by bringing the shin parallel, knee facing forwards, and maybe you can start to tiptoe that foot a little bit further to the left side. Again, we're extending out the back foot and just make sure that it's tracking directly behind you. It's not flaring off to the side and there's no pressure in that knee joint. Once you're there, just lift up the hips, look up slightly towards the sky, and then we'll start to tiptoe the body down. So for many of you, this will be your edge and that's perfectly fine. Just stay here. I encourage you, if you can, to take 2 fists on top of each other and just press the forehead into the mat or into the fists. We have this beautiful sweet spot just between our eyebrows, and it's a lovely way to calm down the nervous system. If you're not quite there on the ground, you can always just place your thumb or 2 of your fingers into that space in the middle. And just notice how it instantly relaxes you. You can even massage that space in between the eyebrows. Just give yourself a little massage, a little bit of TLC. And again, we'll be here for a few full deep breaths. Wherever you are, keep the breath in the belly. Should be feeling a really beautiful stretch along the outer side of the hip with the right hip. And there should be no pain or twinging in either of the knees. If there are, just safely and gently bring yourself out of the pose. Otherwise, we're here for 5 more deep belly breaths. Beautiful. Start to tiptoe yourself back up. Take the hands either side of that knee. And then we're going to roll onto that right hip. Bend that back knee so you don't cause any pressure on the knee joint. And we're just going to come into a side bend. So taking the right foot to the inside of the thigh, left leg is extended. For this one, we're going to keep our toes relaxed. We're not going to be doing too many active stretches through the toes or through the feet. We're just going to really relax into this pose. Take an inhale, sweep up the arms, and as you exhale, start to take a side bend, bringing that left arm down behind the left leg and reaching up the right arm. Look up towards the hand, or gently look down towards that foot. Wherever you are, try to relax into the pose. Maybe close down the eyes. And as always, keep the breath in the belly. This pose should be feeling nice. There should be no twinging or pulling. If there are, just gently bring yourself out of the pose. You've got 3 more full breaths. If it feels a little bit too intense to keep that arm up, you can always drift it down towards the mat. just as long as you still feel that stretch along the back of the body and along the side. Beautiful, we've got 2 more full breaths. Last breath. And then release that right hand down to the mat. We're going to take a forward fold. If you're like me and you're very tight in the hamstrings, maybe you need to shift that right knee a little bit further in towards the center line. But keeping that right foot connected to the thigh. Take an inhale, reach up the arms, and then exhale, start to fold over that leg. So again, we're not really trying to actively open the chest here. We're more rounding the spine and just allowing gravity to do the work. As you can see, I'm quite tight in my hamstring, so this is my edge and this is where I'll stay. If you're a little bit more flexible, maybe you've grabbed a hold of the toes, maybe you want to make this more of an active stretch. Today I'll be making this more of a passive stretch, so feel free to do so like me, and just allow the back to round, the shoulders to round, close down the eyes. Beautiful, gently and slowly bring yourself up. We're going to press the soles of the feet together and we're going to come into butterfly. So depending again on your flexibility, your heels will be coming into the body if you're very flexible in the hips, or if you're a little bit tighter, maybe your heels are coming slightly out. Wherever you are, just grab a hold of the feet, close the eyes and start to gently bounce the knees up and down. If bouncing doesn't feel good, feel free to just stay here holding the feet. Again, close the eyes and just move with your own body. Use your breath. Beautiful. Bring yourself into stillness, keeping a hold of the feet. And then start to bring the elbows down towards the mat. And at the same time, bringing the chest and head down towards the mat. So again, it really doesn't matter how you look in this pose. The idea is that we're feeling this in the inside of the legs, close to the groin. If you like and you'd like to make it a little bit more active, you can use the elbows to gently leverage the knees closer to the mat. Otherwise, if you're like me and you're taking more of a passive stretch, just allow the elbows to fold down, close the eyes, and round the back. Again, as always, this should feel good. There should be no pulling or twinging in the body. Use the breath. Let it flow freely through the nose. Three more full deep belly breaths. And then just allow yourself to gently and slowly come up. Take a moment just taking the hands behind the back. And we'll just shift the feet forwards. It is quite a deep hip opener, so just allow the knees just to fold out. Maybe give yourself a little wiggle from side to side. And then we're going to come into the other side. So first we're going to take that beautiful side bend. So taking the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Taking that right foot out to the side of the body. And again, first we're going to take a side bend. So reach up the arms, press the palms together, and then exhale, fold over that front leg. So again, we're really allowing the body to just relax here. Close down the eyes. And maybe look down towards that front foot, or just do whatever feels good on your neck. That left arm can be lifted, or for more of a passive stretch, you can just simply trace it down towards the mat. Maybe rest it on top of that right thigh. Keep that breath in the belly. Close the eyes. We've got 3 more deep belly breaths. And then gently and slowly reach up, sweep those arms back up. And then again, we'll come into the forward fold. So we'll just reach forwards, either taking hold of the shin, the calf, the ankle, or maybe you've got the toes. Again, we're not flexing the toes here, we're just allowing gravity to do the work. Allow your back to round and your head to come down towards that knee. Again, it really doesn't matter what shape you're taking or what it looks like, just as long as you're feeling a lovely stretch in the back of the hamstrings. Keep the eyes closed, keep the breath deep into the belly. And then whenever you're ready, tip-toe yourself back up to the center. Take a moment just to sit back on the hands. And then we're going to roll into pigeon on the other side. So just being really gentle here. Rolling onto that front leg. At first, let's keep the shin parallel. Take that right foot out behind you. And then maybe start to tiptoe those left toes towards the right wrist. Once you're there, take an inhale, straighten up the body. And then exhale, start to fold over that front leg. Again, if you can, just make a connection with that space in between the eyebrows. You give yourself a little massage. Again, use the breath in any way that feels good. Allow it to flow in through the nose, out through the nose. Last full breath. And then gently and slowly make your way back up. Take your hands either side of the hips and just draw that left knee back to meet the right knee. Beautiful. We'll just take a quick child's pose. We'll take a simple child's pose by placing the knees together, placing the toes together, arms behind the back. Head folds down towards the mat. Close the eyes and maybe just rock the head from side to side. Beautiful. Gently and slowly make your way up to kneeling. And we're going to come down into lying on our backs. We've just got a few more poses. This is a very beautiful, short, sweet class. So coming down to lying on your back, let's just take a mini Shavasana, closing down the eyes for a brief moment and just connecting with how the body is feeling. You might be starting to feel some subtle movement or energy in the body. And maybe if you feel some tingling sensations coming out of the hands, you can just draw the hands to the belly and just imagine sending the energy there. 2 more full deep breaths. And then release the palms facing up. Open the eyes. And we're going to take the left knee towards the chest. Just take a hold of the shin and gently guide the knee in towards the chest. Just use this as a way just to open up and mobilize that hip. Rock the hip from side to side. Beautiful. Then release the hands. We're going to take the right foot on top of that knee and we're going to come into shoelace. So ideally we want to have a 45-degree angle with the right foot and we're bending into that left leg, or the right leg I should say is 45 degrees on top of that left thigh. Reach the right arm in between the right and then take a hold of either the back of the hamstring or you can come over onto the shin. Just gently guiding that knee to the chest, and at the same time we're opening up the right knee so you can start to feel a really beautiful stretch along the outside of the right glute. Maybe close down the eyes and just notice if you can elongate the spine slightly. And just rocking the head from side to side and maybe slightly tucking the chin. Should be feeling a really lovely length through the spine from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. Beautiful. Close down the eyes and maybe squeeze that left knee a little bit closer into the chest. This is a really, really beautiful stretch to do if you run or even if you sit for long periods of time. It's just a beautiful way to mobilize that hip, just to bring some fresh energy into those areas that sometimes are a bit stagnant. Keep the breath in the belly. Perhaps recall your intention that you made at the beginning of the class. The last 2 full deep belly breaths. Beautiful. Release the hands. Release the legs. Press both feet back down onto the mat and just shift the knees from side to side like windshield wipers. You're going to come into the other side. So extending that left leg long, just draw the right knee into the chest. Interlace the fingers just below the knee. Just be careful not to put any pressure on the knee. So we just want to be on the shin bone here. And then just draw that knee in towards the chest, perhaps drawing it even to that right shoulder. I'm just going to squeeze here and just feel that really beautiful stretch on the inside of the hip. Beautiful. Then release the hands and take that left foot this time over the right thigh. And then we're going to weave the left arm in between the left leg and take it underneath the right thigh or over the top onto the shin. Once you're there and you're comfortable, allow your spine to be long, gentle tug of the chin. Maybe this side, like me, feels a little bit tighter. So just use the breath to breathe into any areas of discomfort. But as always, there should be no pain or pulling sensations. Use that deep yogic breath to bring you into the body, out of the mind. Close down the eyes and really feel how your body is feeling in this pose. Notice any emotions or feelings that start to arise and just welcome them. Just invite them to pass by as you connect to your breath. So use your breath to guide your body. 3 more deep breaths. Again, use the breath in any way that feels good. There's no right or wrong. Maybe you need to exhale through the mouth. Maybe you need to pause at the top or the bottom of the inhale or the exhale. This is your body, your practice. Do whatever feels good for you today. Last full belly breath. And then release the hands. Draw the knees into the chest. Just massage the lower back into the mat, rocking yourself from side to side. We've got one last pose before we come into our final Shavasana. So option is to come into legs up the wall, or we can come into a waterfall. So I'll show you waterfall first if you're not close by a wall. You're just going to keep the back of your body onto the mat, and you're just going to reach up your legs, soft bend in the knees. There should be no tension in the abs here, so just find a position that's completely comfortable, and you're just going to hang out here. Once you're there and you feel completely relaxed and comfortable, you're going to lift up your arms and just close down the eyes. So this is just a beautiful way to bring some fresh energy into the core, back into the heart. Again, it's especially good if you've been quite still today, if you've been sitting or standing, or even if you've just gotten out of bed. If you'd like to come into legs up the wall, I'm going to come into the wall this way first. So taking your left hip or your right, no matter where you are, depending where you are, and we're just going to shift our body onto the wall, lay down, and then turn around, keeping the body on the wall, so your sit bone should be on the wall, and then just reaching up the legs. This is such a beautiful pose to do if you're pregnant, especially in the later stages of pregnancy. I'm a prenatal yoga teacher and I often teach this when I teach my prenatal classes, because it's just a beautiful way to take that pressure off the feet. But for the rest of us that are maybe not pregnant, it's just a really, really beautiful way to end practice and to even end the day. So wherever you are, just relaxing completely into the pose, closing the eyes. I've got 10 full belly breaths here. Last full breath. And then just make your way back down onto the mat, coming into your final Shavasana. Taking your time to get there. Putting on any extra layers, maybe some music. Anything to get yourself ready for your final relaxation. This is the end of the class, so I do recommend you stay here for at least 5 minutes. Otherwise, just laying down, relaxing the body, closing down the eyes. If you're leaving me here, thank you so much for joining me today. Have a beautiful rest of your day.